everybody. Welcome to On the Capo Stand. I'm your host, John, with Ahmed tonight. Ahmed, how you doing?
Hey, John, how are you, man? Happy Monday.
Doing good, doing good. So I'm sure, as you guys noticed, we are without David tonight. I don't know. You guys may not have seen he had a medical emergency last week. He's doing fine. Had to spend a couple days in the hospital, but as of today, he's home. He's doing well. He's getting better. But our thoughts and prayers are with him. As always, don't forget you can follow us live on Twitch, on YouTube at David's channel, Twitch at On the Capo Stand, X on the Capo Stand, and Facebook on the Capo Stand. And then our Instagram, well, we don't go live on there yet, but is also at On the Capo Stand. We got a loaded show tonight. We're going to do a little different order because we do have a special guest with us to go over the match this coming Saturday against the first place FC in the East, FC Cincinnati. It is my cousin Nate. He is a season ticket holder for FC Cincinnati, has been, I believe, since basically they came to the MLS, maybe even before then. Nate, how you doing tonight?
Good, John.
Hey, Nate.
Hey, man.
Welcome to the show, man.
Thanks
Welcome
for having
to the
me.
show. So you guys have went from worst to first pretty quickly. Won the wooden spoon there for a couple of years. Orlando fans know what that's like. Kind of what's going on this year, what's working, why you guys, what happened basically to get you guys to where you are now.
Obviously, the coaching change helped quite a bit. I think the GM in the front office helped, with Birding stepping down from that position and just taking over he's just the president now of the club rather than the GM as well. I heard he's a hard-nosed businessman, but he doesn't really know a lot about soccer. So I think getting a soccer-minded individual in the GM slot was a must. And I think that's helped with, as you can see, the signings that we've brought in, the last 2 years that have really helped us. So I think those are probably the first two moves that they made that have really helped. From a player's perspective, the signings, like I mentioned, bringing in Miazga was huge. He didn't perform well last year, I'd say. He was kind of hit and miss, but that was the story of the entire back line, right?
Yeah. So, obviously your key player is Acosta, our arch nemesis Acosta at that. He's, obviously I mainly watch Orlando City. If Orlando's playing, Cincinnati's playing, so I don't get to watch you guys, as much as even close to I do Orlando. But the thing that hit me Wednesday in the Open Cup final was just the touch he put on his passes and the how he was able to, it seemed like, just perfectly curve the ball in to where it needed to be. And I mean, it was a thing of beauty to watch, honestly. Is that pretty typical, or is he having an on night? Was he having an on night, or is that who he is?
Yeah, I think that's. So he is consistently a quality player. I'll start with that. I think there was some more juice in the tank for Wednesday's game, and even this past Saturday's game, for two reasons. One, Acosta is Argentinian, so he's got to, he wants to play up to one of his idols, for Wednesday's game. So I think that had a lot to do with it. Saturday was a big game for us coming off of, the loss Wednesday, which was a real tough loss to take. But to get back on the right foot in the MLS, especially after losing away, the previous week.
Definitely. Yeah. And then, everybody hears about Brandon Vasquez. You guys are seemingly holding on to him through this transfer window. What's he kind of do good? What's is he, kind of a back to goal striker? I know he's not a, herky-jerky striker, kind of like, a Cristiano Ronaldo type, but, is he more of a target man, back to the goal, win the ball in the air, or all the above?
So he's pretty versatile. I'll say he hasn't performed to par this year. No, not really sure what the cause of that is. He has some goal, some aerial goals. He's got some goals from beyond the 18, where he's taken one or two touches and then put it in the net. He's also the guy he's been playing. He's been playing kind of as the number one up top to win those head balls and kind of those physical battles. I think they've asked that of him, which I think is a little different than last year, right? When he scored 18 goals. But I think he is getting in his own way this year.
Okay,
I'll put it that way. There's been a lot of times he's had bad touches. Watching the game, he'll try to take a touch and make the turn at the same time and loses the ball under him a lot. It's happened quite a bit this year, which he's struggled with.
Okay. I mean, it probably, a pressure thing, hearing your name, being brought up as a big transfer for a Bundesliga side. It wasn't a Gladbach was trying to get him, I believe.
Yeah. There was, I think, two clubs that were offered. They put some bids in for him, but we didn't accept any of them. Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I remember, last year when we played you guys, it was first part of the season. I think we had lost, or maybe, had a couple draws and a loss in a row. And then it gets to Cincinnati, and I'm kind of like, oh, sweet, we get to play them. Bad team. We always do that. And then you guys kicked us in the teeth. I think it was 3-1, 3-0, 4-1, something to that effect. It was quite the surprise to me. But you guys seem to, is the way you played Wednesday night, where you kind of absorb the pressure to a point and then counter. Is that kind of your MO, almost like a Nashville, what Nashville's almost perfected, minus winning a major trophy, or with you guys playing a team that's on a hot streak right now with the players Miami has, were you guys just trying to take away their strengths by sitting back like you were Wednesday?
So I think they actually change. I think they have the ability to do that this year, where the prior years they didn't.
Okay.
So they pick their times to press high. And this past weekend was a great example of they basically played the entire game pressing.
Okay.
I mean, the front line to back line, there was maybe 20 yards between them, when we were on our offensive half. They were pressed real high 80 minutes of the game, I would say. And like, for instance, Wednesday, I think they sat back for a little bit to kind of get into the rhythm. And then they started to press, and that's where they got the 2 goals, in regular time. So
definitely. And we do have a comment here, Ahmed, if you want to read the comment.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Vixen. Hi, Vixen. How are you, buddy?
Hey,
Vixen says, I believe Vasquez isn't doing as well because he isn't fully focused on FC Cincinnati since he's been getting offers from Europe. Last year, when he didn't get any offers, he fully focused on the team. And I think we all would agree with you on that.
Yeah,
definitely.
I mean, you can throw in the U.S. national team time as well, right?
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, and on an Orlando City perspective, look at Facundo Torres. He, last year had a great season, and then this year he, it's talks he's going to Arsenal. Basically all the offseason is that Arsenal's tracking him down and are going to sign him. It wasn't or trying. It was, it seemed on social media to be they're going to sign him. And then, he has a really slow year. And then finally those talks kind of cooled off in May and June. And then he's had a really good July and, a couple matches here in August and is really picking it up. So, I mean, it's got to be hard for the guys, what's Vasquez's age about? Is he Do you know?
He's a young guy. I'd have to look it up. Maybe late 20s, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Facu's 22, so that can be, either way, whether you're 22 or 28, that can be distracting when you see the big clubs come calling. So let's move on. We'll go to, as heartbreaking as it is for Nate. We'll touch on the Open Cup. It's a trophy that last year Orlando City kind of came from nowhere and won. You guys coming into the semifinals. Back in the first part of July, probably we're like, sweet, we got a cakewalk to the finals to potentially win our first trophy. And then all of a sudden, Don Garber magically makes Messi appear for his for his savior, David Beckham. So kind of, I thought, I'll give my opinion. Ahmed, you can give yours. Were you able to watch the game, Ahmed?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'll say this: we were all Cincinnati fans that day.
Yes, definitely.
Every single one of us.
Yep. Me and Nate texted me a couple pictures of Messi and probably surprised him with what I responded back.
I did enjoy the comment. The inner Fort Lauderdale was good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they don't even play in their own city. So I mean, how can you call a team that doesn't play in their own city, in a different city, that city? But yeah, I thought, for the most part, you guys, FC Cincinnati did well against Miami, obviously going up 2-0. Late in the game, the forward you guys have that has the blonde hair, I thought he got he was playing a little selfish. Should have, in my opinion, brought the ball to the corner a couple times, or at least out wide, waited for reinforcements. Because he had some, it was some 1-on-2s that he was going against, and took them head on. I'm all for trying to add on to a lead, but to a point there, there has to be some common sense. You got to, notice as a forward the time and place that you're trying to attack, and when it's a 2v1 in the goalie, you're not putting your team in a good place to be. I mean, I thought the atmosphere was amazing. It was really the first match that Miami had that wasn't predominantly Miami fans. I'm sorry, Nashville was one, and then you guys definitely were not, which was a good thing to see. I'm actually going to Cincinnati this weekend. My whole family, obviously, my cousin lives up there, but my whole family lives up there. So I was going up there anyway. I said it on the show before. I'm going up there. It's my second away day. I can't wait to go. Can't wait to see, their stadium, their brand new stadium up there. And, they packed the place. This year, you guys have basically sold out, every match probably?
Yeah, pretty much every game, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I thought you guys had it in the bag, and then, Messi does Messi things a couple times, and, one defensive lapse and overtime, and it's off to PKs, and, in PKs, you might as well flip a coin. So, Ahmed, what'd you see, and then Nate can give us the synopsis surrounding it off.
Man, I just think they were playing really, really well, and like I said, we were all Cincinnati that day. I was just so rooting for them, and I just felt like things fell apart at the very, very end. It just like little by little. It wasn't even. But honestly, sometimes I feel like that's all that it takes, right? Is little mistakes, and you can't afford those mistakes at games of that level. I think that's all that it was. It was just little silly mistakes, and that's what can't happen. Ultimately, I think that's all that it was.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think I had one original perspective. Leaving the game, I had one perspective on it, and it was Santos in the 86th minute, right before they scored the tying goal, had that breakaway, John, that you mentioned. And, he came out 1v1 on somebody, had the ball, and they're attacking third. And instead of taking the ball to the corner and killing the game there, he tries to play a pass to Nwobu to try to, score a goal late. That, I think, is what – I think that was the decisive move right there. in my perspective. He goes to the corner, that kills off 30 to 45 seconds. He makes that pass. You saw what happened, right? They come right back down the field. Messi puts a beautiful ball in. Game's tied. We're going to, extras.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that could have won the game. And then talking with my other friends, other soccer-minded friends, season ticket holders that I sit with, individuals that are watching on TV, they actually had a different perspective on it, and it goes back to how important is it to win that game for FC Cincinnati, right? Are they worried more about winning an Open Cup trophy, or are they more worried about making sure that their players are rested to play the regular season, right? We had 3 games in 7 days. Two of them regular season games. Do we need to put all the guys in the field the whole time to win the Open Cup game? We're more worried about winning this, the Supporters Shield, and hopefully the cup at the end. So hearing that perspective on it, that makes sense why subs were made for Vasquez and Mbappe and Acosta, in the 65th, 70th minute. It makes sense. They're going to rest those guys so they can have their time, for regular season. So it was heartbreaking to see them leave the game after we played so well. But when I took a step back after all the emotion of the game, that makes a lot of sense, right? The Open Cup comes around every year. Many teams have a chance to make a run, Orlando last year. So that'll come around again next year. We may not have the same team, same players as next year, right? We're probably going to lose 3 or 4 of the main guys.
Mm-hmm.
That's my guess next year. So I think they're playing for the MLS rather than the Open Cup.
Makes sense. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. I mean, if I was in your shoes, we talk on the show a lot. Earlier in the season, we wanted Poppy fired, even though we're on a hot streak now and, tied on points for second place and all of that stuff, which we're happy it ended up this way. It wasn't a, personal thing against Orlando City's coach. It was just the boys weren't performing the way everybody, almost every expert, said they should be, what the team, how good the team looked on paper, and they just weren't performing. I mean, we got knocked out by Charlotte in a high school soccer field. So and that's how we defended our trophy. And Nate, me better than almost anybody watching. I'm the most competitive, one of the most competitive people you'll ever find. And, to me, there's no excuse not to go for a win. I mean, the league is a lot. Me and Ahmed were talking before the show, in order for anybody to catch you guys are 11 points clear right now with 9 or 8 games, or 9 or 10 games, depending on, who you are. Cause I think there's a couple teams that have a game in hand still. But they, you're 11 points clear with less games than points. So you guys would essentially, have to lose more matches than you've lost the entire year, over the next, 8, 9 games, 9, 10 games. And, especially when you're, 25, 30 minutes away from making a championship appearance, securing that spot, and then your players don't have the pressure on them to potentially, blow it in the league. And then you also have the opportunity to rest players a little more, to the last couple games of the season to prepare for the playoffs. That's just my opinion. I don't know how you feel, Matt, on it, but
yeah, I mean, yeah, I think you kind of nailed it. There's really not much more.
Cool.
It's yeah, man.
Awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, even with the resting of players, Santos having situational awareness wins the game for us.
Yep.
So
definitely,
to me, that was the decisive or indecisive play that changed the tides.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, it was a great game from a just pure soccer fan perspective. It was an exciting match. Even when you guys were up 2 goals, like the last play we keep, or the play we keep mentioning, you guys were right there on the doorstep, almost scoring, getting ready to score, putting shots on. And then I was honestly sick to my stomach after Miami scored that opening goal of extra time, and I turned it off. I was still following the ticker on Foot Mob, and I'm like, wait, they're putting shots on goal. Let's turn it back on. And then like 5 minutes later, that's when Cincinnati equalized it. And still was putting pressure on Miami. If I personally think if that game goes, 10 minutes longer, Cincinnati has a much better chance than Miami did of pulling that match out.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. I think if this were any other tournament where they had the extra time and then penalties, it would have been a totally different game. Totally different.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We have
You got anything else, Nate? Anything else to add? You said you're going to.
Yeah. I mean, the only other thing is, I guess, 2 comments. One, I haven't watched a lot of the other Open Cup games, but 6 extra minutes of the first half and 8 in the second half. I don't know if we were playing by FIFA standards for this game or not, or if it was the Messi effect, but the group of people I sit with always take bets on how much extra time there's going to be, and no one was close for either one of those.
Oh yeah.
So
that's what happens when back in July when Major League Soccer changed their name to Messi League Soccer and sold their soul for a couple quick bucks.
Yeah. And then the last thing I would add is, while he is a Cincinnati native, he is not in my top 10 to take a PK, and he took the 5th PK during that game and passed it to the goalie. So that was another, I think he wanted to do well and, be the savior of the city. Yeah,
I'd almost rather miss it a little bit wide than miss it where he missed it, because that's savable. I mean, you play goalie, Nate, and at high school and above, anybody's saving that one, and it was weakly hit too.
Yeah. Yep.
So, all right, Nate, we appreciate your time tonight, hanging out with us, talking, about the match coming up, talking about FC Cincinnati's, season, kind of how they got to be first in the East this season. How do you think Saturday's go? Honestly, you can say it as a fan, and as just from a soccer standpoint, a fan standpoint, however you want to do it.
So we'll probably win because we're at home and we don't lose games at home. So that's the one thing. And depending on which Acosta shows up, you may not have a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what it comes down to.
Okay.
That's fair. I'll give you that.
Well, we appreciate it, Nate. I'll see you on Saturday at some point, before, after, during the match, I'm sure. Again, thank you for joining us. Come back anytime. You got to know what the show is now, so if you ever want to get your week's worth of Orlando City, feel free to join us.
Appreciate that. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Nate. Have a good one. So we have another comment from Vixen, I think, John.
All right. Thank you. Go right ahead of that.
Yeah, Vixen said, I remember Santos from Philadelphia Union, and I'm surprised that they let him go to another club. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, he looked, very skilled this year. Obviously, I'm not, like I said earlier, we're not able to watch other clubs like we may want to because of the way the MLS scheduling is. They have one game maybe a little bit earlier. And then, there's usually at least one Sunday game, and then that's all she wrote. So let's move on. We did have a match this past Saturday.
Oh yeah, and what a match it was, man!
Exciting.
What a match!
Go ahead and take it away, man. No, go ahead.
Man, let me tell you, I walked away from that match being the proudest fan ever. We played an amazing game. Everything that you could want as a fan from the team, that's what they did. Could we have done some things better? Yeah, but at the end of the day, we won, and we won against St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
To me, the week before, I was talking with David, and we were talking about it, and I said, David, after I watched the Chicago game, I watched the St. Louis game, and they went on 6-3.
Yeah.
Right. And they just didn't win 6-3. They were clawing at that game like they were losing till the last minute. You know, like when they had Gioacchini's last goal where he took the touch and then he actually made the goal on the second touch. It was phenomenal. So I was worried. And leaving that game on Saturday, I couldn't be a happier fan. I don't know about you. I know we chatted a little bit here and there, but I have a whole list of all the things we did right. You know, the first half, I'll say, left me a little bit worried. You know, there was probably like a good 8-9 opportunities to score that just like went out the window, and there were some bad turnovers. So leaving the first half, I was not confident. Right. After that first half, though, we came out and we did what we needed to. But a win is a win, right?
Definitely.
Could it have been a better win? I think. Right. Not to downplay what we did, but you know, you're playing a first place team in their conference. So I feel like we should have done a little bit better, but we won. That's it. End of story. I mean, we can go through all the details, but you know.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel the big thing that happened, and I didn't realize it being at the match, that Gioacchini, however you say his last name, I only speak English. My foreign languages are terrible. And I know he's American, but he has a Italian name, and it's a lost cause for me. But him going off injured at halftime, you know, being subbed out at halftime, taking a knock on his shoulder when Janssen just bodied him, plain and simple. Just bodied him. Just said, you know, you're not getting past me. I know you're faster. You know, sit down. You know, not to praise Janssen, you know, not to glorify somebody getting injured. It's, you know, sports, it happens. But, you know, I think that's what changed the game. You know, they kind of lost their ability to get in behind us then. They still had a lot of speed on the wings, just up the middle. They didn't have much of what he's shown he has this year, which is the ability to get behind. And I'm sure everybody knows at this point, you know, Gioacchini played for us last year, you know, picked him up over the summer. Didn't play much at all. Unfortunately, I was really excited when he joined us. I'm like, this guy could be a world burner for us. Have Torres on one ring, have him on the other, and, you know, feeding balls in the Cara, and, you know, we could be off to the races. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. You know, for whatever reason, it didn't work out. We let him go on to St. Louis, and, you know, he's having a heck of a year. But that specific, that him going out at half changed the match. Especially if St. Louis didn't have the attacking sting that they had in the first half. Yeah, I mean, we had, you know, 2 shots. One was a little difficult one Mauricio had that kind of deflected, you know, off wide. McGuire had a chance, and, you know, and then a couple crosses by Santos, you know, went untouched. Nobody really did anything with them. And, you know, matches past, somebody had done something with them, and you know, that's the way soccer is. But overall, as a fan, I was really happy. Thought we played well. We responded well. Kind of got a, you know, iffy break on the VAR call, but we got it back. You know, shows kind of what David and I have been saying the whole season, and the Meds helped with it. You know, if you stay aggressive, eventually luck's going to go your way in the game of soccer. And, you know, we stayed aggressive. We didn't accept the tie. We kept attacking. And then what do you know, a handball that, you know, really only from one angle you could see it. And luckily the camera was there and they saw it and ruled it for a penalty. But I will say, I thought it was hilarious at the stadium. I thought the ref took forever to call the penalty after the VAR.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely, man. He came out from there. Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, Torres is looking, you know, better than he did at this point last year. But to get into the weeds of it, just some stats from the game. You know, we held more possession. We had 57% possession. The big thing is we actually won a match where we had more expected goals. That had been a struggle of ours, as well as being a team that was theoretically, you know, even though we have close to the same points as they do, they're still ahead of us on the table. They're first in the West. We beat them at home. That's something this club struggled to do our entire existence. 11 shots, 4 on target. Good quantity of shots, 4 shots on target. We scored 2 of them. Yeah, one was a penalty, but still counts as a shot on target. And then, the thing I most liked about the game, I came home instantly and rewatched it, was the movement the boys seem to have that they've had for a while now. And the Facu goal to me was the bookmark of the advancements this team has made this season in their movement. Whether it's Kara not being in there and Maguire being a little bit more of a mobile striker than Kara is, or if it's just a little bit of a change in philosophy that Poppy's had from the beginning of the season. I don't know what it is. We'll show the clip here, and then Ahmed, I'll let you go. I know you got some stuff to cover on this. But, just pay attention. Kara will be basically middle of the screen, and the run he makes, the run Facu makes. Facu starts it with the long ball, runs about 45 yards to get to the spot for the pass eventually.
You mean Maguire, right?
Or Maguire no, I thought Torres Torres made a long run to it to get there as well, and Maguire's run to the near post opened up the space for Facu. So it was to me it was how soccer's supposed to be played and why it's called the beautiful game.
There we go. Just like that.
Yep. And let me tell you, the crowd was there Saturday night. They had 22,000. I thought there was more than that. Looking around, obviously I can't see behind me on the wall, but and it was loud. It was in person. It was loud. Go ahead, Ahmed. I know you got some stuff you want to cover.
Man, I can't stop talking about this match, man. You know what it is? It's like, to your point, it's like we're at the point now. This is the point we should have been at. And don't anybody criticize me for saying this. This is where we should have been at the beginning of the season, not game one. The chemistry between the players, everybody knowing this is where I think that's all anybody wanted. I mean, that towards the end of the second half, was it towards the end of the second half? Facundo's run, his 94-yard run.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, where they went off of the corner. He made that long run and he passed it over to Angulo, and it was just like it was like, I think it was like in the 84th minute or something. Stuff like that.
Yeah, it was right. It was right before Angulo came off. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like that's what we need to see. Like seeing stuff like that makes you, not to say don't care if you don't win, but you're like, we're playing how we should be. And I feel like that's really what, for me, sealed the deal. It wasn't even the points. It was just we played like a winning team regardless of what the score was. When we play like that, you have me as a fan, regardless of the outcome. Right? It's Definitely. When we see mistakes that, shouldn't be made. That's, I don't know what else to say.
Yep.
Because I could sit there and go through every piece that I wrote all these notes down, and I'm going to bore anybody that's listening to it. But I think we have a couple of comments too.
A couple of comments. Go right ahead with them.
Serge Nash. Hello, Serge. He said, I bet a bunch of people bought season tickets after this win. I'm sure you're right. And I would.
Yeah.
Serge continues to go. Only concern I have after the last 2 wins, sloppy as hell starts. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. That's what worried me for the first 45 minutes of this match, because we're playing against St. Louis and we looked like we were playing well, but it was like spotty. And like I said, turnovers, lost balls, missed opportunities. We can't play like that.
Yep. Definitely.
Absolutely. 100%.
Absolutely. So moving on, we already talked about the FC Cincinnati match on Saturday, and we'll touch on it again a little bit later in the show, get our, how we think the matches are going to go. But first, Wednesday night, 7:30, we take on Charlotte away up there. This is a grudge match. They beat us 2 times very early in the season. We kind of gave them a little bit of momentum with those 2 wins, and they were. I mean, I remember saying the words, "They're a dumpster fire." going into the match, that there's no way we should win. I think I said it was going to be a 3-0, 4-0 win, and they end up sitting there and, taking our lunch money and stealing our dog from our own home. And then embarrassing us on a high school soccer field in the Carolinas. Yeah, I mean, they're coming off. They've had a little bit better stretch recently than they did coming into when they were coming into the match earlier this year. I'm pulling it up here. I had it at one point. They currently sit 12th in the league on 29 points. They're 3 points out of the last playoff position, 9th place for the wild card game, if you will.
Yep.
Their recent matches, they played LAFC at home this past weekend. They actually beat them 2-1. And then their last league match was against Montreal in Montreal. They lost 2-0 in Leagues Cup. They really didn't do much. They beat the Necaxa at home, obviously in Charlotte. Other than that, they beat Houston 2-1 and then lost to Miami 4-0 in that as well. So, going into it, my opinion is this is a game that, we should win. Almost every team in the MLS is playing this Wednesday night. August and September are very busy months for the league. Leagues Cup backed it up a little bit. They compressed the schedule at the back end. So, the next month and a half, every team has several stretches where they're going to play, 3 games in 7 days, 3 games in 6 days, depending on, if they have a Sunday match or not. So everybody has it. This isn't Orlando's, the only team doing it. Cincinnati has to play at Atlanta on Wednesday night before they play us on Sunday. So, I think going into it, we should have a good showing. The team looks hungry. They're playing hungry. They're fighting. Our attack looks better than it's looked the all season, and honestly, maybe ever in our history. We look more dangerous than we've ever looked. This team, in the past, other team scores a goal, they kind of hang their head. This team's like, nope, let's go. We're getting that one back. So, I think Wednesday night should be a win. Maybe a little bit closer. I'm kind of expecting to see a little bit of a rotated squad, not just because of injuries, just to kind of, rest players a little bit, bring them in only if needed, type of thing. So I think it may be a little bit closer than it maybe should be. But, what do you think, Ahmed? Where are you at on Wednesday night?
You know what? I mean, for me, every game at this point is like the playoffs. You know what I mean? We have to approach it like a no holds barred. But I do agree with you. Looking at the rest of our schedule, it's like I do foresee like a rotated lineup, and I foresee people calling that out and saying, why is he changing? But because we do have some other games that are coming up, so I wouldn't be surprised. But again, for me, this is somewhat personal because of the whole Open Cup fiasco for us. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I think we might see a modified, maybe not everybody play the whole game, maybe half and half, switch it out, just to let some people rest up a little bit. But I think the guys need, especially the guys who were here last season for the Open Cup, I think they need the win just to feel better about the whole Open Cup. I feel like if we have that momentum and we need that to maintain it.
Absolutely.
And I don't think a draw would even do.
No. I mean, at this point in the year, as congested as it is, in the whole playoff picture, where you have to come away with wins. There's no excuses for it, because right now the 9th place team is just as close to us as we are Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. We're 11 points up. We have 43 points. We're technically tied for second on points. We're in 4th because of goal differential, with 43 points. And then Chicago's at 32. Cincinnati's 11 points ahead of us at 54. So, it's tight. This is what the league hoped for, is a tight race. They have an extra storyline with what's going down in Fort Lauderdale with that circus that's going on, and it's interesting to say the least. And that's what makes a team like Cincinnati is what makes this league so great. How they can go from winning the wooden spoon 2 years ago to now probably winning the Supporters Shield. You don't see that, other leagues they'd be down playing in essentially MLS Next Pro, trying to battle their way back up to the top league. So we got one more comment here, Ahmed, and then we can move on.
Yep, Serge says, any news on Robin and AC's availability? I haven't heard anything official. I think I saw something about Antonio several weeks or something. I heard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the exact number. I don't know what happened with Robin. Did something also happen with Robin?
Today I forget who it was, but somebody on Twitter posted a picture of him training separately from the rest of the group. So I don't know if it was just nobody confirmed what it was, whether it was like a precautionary thing or he actually did take a knock in the match. He didn't seem to take a knock in the match, seemed to be fine the entire time, but yeah, he was training separately. And yeah, what Ahmed said as far as AC goes, I saw he's basically game to game, could be potentially a couple more weeks, and then I also heard Gaston Gonzalez is very close to returning. He's fully training with the squad. As well as Mikey Holiday made an appearance, and then Jack Lynn made an appearance. And this is perfectly leads in. I look like a professional tonight. Perfectly leads into the segue of talking about kind of what's going on with the club, other than the senior team with Orlando City B. Like I said, Jack Lynn made an appearance, had some crucial defensive plays when he came on, and potentially at least twice that I remember from watching the replay saved the team from potentially giving up another game tying goal. And I mean he has a chance to be something special. In my opinion, we're really spoiled with two young guys like him and Duncan up front. And then you throw in Enrique as well, who's 20, 19, something like that. So we got three really young, really skilled guys, and all three, in my opinion, have completely different skill sets. They kind of can feed off of one another, but different skill sets with three different attackers potentially, in the future, giving us a look to have a rotating cast of guys up top, depending on what we need on a game-to-game basis. You're muted, Ahmed.
Oh, sorry. Oh,
that's okay.
All right. I was going to say, what I was trying to say is that it takes me back to your point earlier about Gioacchini and how we let him go last season. I feel like we do so much work to get all this talent, and we have a lot of talent, and you never get to really appreciate it until, like, in a case like his where he's with another team now. But like someone like Jack Lynn, amazing talent. And if you see what he does with OCB, we also have, obviously, like you said, Duncan, Mikey Holiday, obviously, but also like Fabian Loyola. We have all this talent, and I feel like it, not to sound the wrong way, but I feel like it goes wasted because we don't get to see them on that first team. And I feel like now if they have that opportunity, I hope that we take that risk and put them in, because I feel like it's their time to shine, and I feel like they'll show us why they're there. Because,
and go ahead. In my opinion, if they don't make it to our first team, don't let a Chris Mueller type situation happen where we get nothing for him.
Absolutely. Even like the other young gentleman that they signed, right? The other one that they just signed, that he went to, was he from Spain? Did he go to Spain?
Yeah, he's from Spain. He went to Belgium.
Yeah, that's another one. I mean, we saw him for all of like maybe 30 seconds. Give him some more opportunity. I feel like we do so much work to see that, and since the team is not pushing that the B team, people don't get to see that talent.
Yep.
Right. If you watch those games, man, it's crazy. Some of the stuff
Yeah.
you see.
I mean, the Orlando City B, I casually followed them before this year. And then David was really talking about them, and if I can help it, I don't miss a match now because it's exciting soccer, but it's also high quality, exciting soccer. It's not like watching.
And it's the future. It's the
Yeah.
future of our teams. It's like,
yeah,
those are the people,
and
man.
I mean, part of the problem is the limitations that the MLS puts on the senior clubs that do have MLS Next Pro teams. And academy teams, because if like the kid from Spain that we recently sold,
Yeah.
they can only play a certain number of minutes, and then they have to be signed on by the senior club.
Yeah.
Nowhere else in the world, and it's very strict. It's like to the minute, and it's a shame. It's one of the things that I've said in the past. I really wish they would change it to an appearance number. What that appearance number is, I don't have any idea. But make it 5 or 6 appearances. Make it make it 9 appearances. Make it more than a quarter of the season. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But
then it gives
it's
them that
something.
opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. It's something to give the younger players that may not typically give the opportunity. Also helps the club in tough stretches like what we had last summer with going through the Open Cup or Champions League or now Leagues Cup during the season. So those tough stretches, it broadens the availability that you can use for guys that are on on the squad and in the system. And on that note, you know more about it than I do. Was it Fabian Loyola that had the operation?
Yeah, the club posted the other day. Fabian underwent surgery for a blood clot. Everything went well, so we're wishing him a speedy recovery. Hope to see him on the pitch soon again.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And then it was reported today. I'm sure most people saw it that Kara is being shopped around. Potentially could be out of here in the winter, which I'm sure a lot of people would be happy to see. They would enjoy seeing him gone, and it's really a shame because he's such a talent that another one that was essentially wasted here, in my opinion. No, he did have some things go on there. He does have a Turkish background. It is a Turkish club or Turkish heritage. It is a Turkish club that is recruiting him right now. But earlier in the season there was the earthquakes that happened in Turkey, and some relatives of his were involved with that from that area, and so he's had a rough time. Has a baby on the way, or just had a baby. Nobody's really heard much of anything.
Yep.
So yeah, it's looking like he's gone this off season, which could potentially give way to Jack Lynn. It would also open up another designated player spot. So thoughts on this, Ahmed?
I'm excited about it. It's an unfortunate situation. The thing about it is when you sign players like that, it's tough because you have to. It's like hiring somebody anywhere. You never know what you're gonna get and how they're gonna vibe with the team. So it's an unfortunate situation because they didn't gel, right? Because that's really, especially in that type of position, everybody has to feed off of each other, and I don't think that chemistry was there between the players off the pitch, and that comes to on the pitch.
Definitely.
And I could be wrong, but it is what it is.
Definitely.
But I'm excited for the opportunities that it leaves for us. I'm curious to see what the team's going to do with it, and I'm curious to see who they're going to play and what changes they're going to make. I know we have a lot of changes coming up as far as the contracts go too, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's like 11 to 13 players' contracts end, or loans are up at the end of the season. If basically December 31st, there's 13 guys that may not be here. That's basically half the rostered players. I'm sure that they'll bring some back, and there's the rumors out there of a new coach, or Poppy potentially leaving, or Poppy staying, or whatever. I mean, it's a good position for a new coach to step into, but it's also a good position for Poppy to kind of wash his hands of players that he feel did not, pan out the way he was hoping they would, such as Kara, or key players that panned out much better than he thought they would, like Angulo.
I really hope they sign him. I have to tell you, I really, really hope they sign him.
Yeah. Is there any players other than that, Ahmed, that you think, that you'd want to see kept off the top of your head without, knowing exactly who's off contract? Let's just say everybody's out there.
Yeah. Sheesh. I mean, definitely Enrique. Let me see. My son is yelling Nani. He's talking about players that are here. He's saying Urso. He's yelling about Urso.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's one that we have him. What was it? Was it a year with an option? So we have him through next summer at least.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think Cartagena has been doing really well.
Yep.
Shoot. Honestly, looking at the last few games, everybody's been doing really well.
Yeah.
If you asked me that about like halfway through earlier in the season, I'd have been like, forget it all, start over. But it's tough. It would actually be a tough call as a coach right now to say that, because you have such a good chemistry amongst the players.
Absolutely. I mean, one need that I feel like we definitely, not necessarily letting somebody go, but one need we definitely need is a true number 10, a true attacking midfielder.
Yeah.
I
agree.
Pereira's great. Some of the passes he makes are incredible. But he's not what this specific team needs in a number 10. Maybe a team that has a Nani that can create his own shot out of nothing. They need the person to be able to feed the balls in the tight spaces like that. But a true number 10, and then maybe some some center back depth. I know that we have some. It'd be nice to have a little bit more. Where if we could be in a situation this week potentially, based on what's being seen out there, is that we could be without two starting center backs. Widely considered the best center back duo in the league.
I know.
So, that's one thing I'd like to see addressed. We do have a couple comments here pop up.
There you go. Serge said, Ojeda is very questionable for me. Yes. And then we have a message from Vixen, Ahmed's son, Nani, LMFAO. Yeah, I know. I thought the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, Ojeda, he's had, in my opinion, he's had peak. He's had glimpses of what he can do. He's had glimpses of brilliance. That pass, what game was it? It was the back heel where he back heeled it to Kara, and Kara ended up putting it home. That was brilliant. That was, just pure feel of the game that you can't really teach.
Did he start at that game? I don't know if he started.
He came in as a sub.
William Aguilar is like, Ojeda out. You know what it is though? It's really, I feel like it's hard with players like that because they don't get that opportunity to, like, not starting. You have that limited time, so it's like either really good or really bad, and they don't get to show that consistency. You know what I mean? So it's hard. It's hard to even judge them. Like, I can't argue with William, but then again, if he was starting, maybe it would be a different story. You know what I mean? You don't know, so it's kind. It is really hard to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they brought him in to be a number 9, a number 10, an attacking mid, where before he had really only played as a number 9 or a winger. Occasionally he'd play more of like a false number 9, stay a little bit deeper than your traditional striker or center forward would. But, they seem to have scratched that on him. They're now putting, whenever he comes in, he starts out on the wing. Like this past week, he came in for Angulo, started out on the left wing, and then when Pereira was subbed off, for who came in? Oh, Jack Lynn came in. Jack Lynn came in, went to striker, Enrique went to left wing, Ojeda went to right wing, and then Torres they had playing as the attacking mid, which seems to work. Like they did that while Pereira was out injured earlier in the year, and we got some good results with it. Saw some good link ups. I mean, I think before Torres's goal, I think Torres overtook him now. Ojeda was tied for the most goal contributions on the team before Saturday. So the limited time he has had his chances. Now, I've been saying since the beginning he really hasn't done much to impress me. Kind of the graphic people see where it's like hype and talent level. It's kind of he's kind of on the one where the hype's up here and the talent levels, much lower in my opinion. But again, he's had those glimpses.
Yeah, we have a couple of comments, I think.
All right,
John.
Perfect.
What do we got? Serge says, back to Lin and Ojeda, not enough playing time. Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. William Aguilar, Jacqueline really surprised me for the few minutes he played defensively and attacking. Did more than Ojeda in a few minutes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And Vixen says Ojeda gets a chance at a free kick and shoots the ball at the keeper. It was a bullet of a shot, though. Absolutely. Agreed.
Yep.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, that opportunity that Jacqueline had to shine, he just blew me out of the water. When he came on, my son was like, why are they putting Jacqueline in? And then 5 minutes later, I was like, that's why they put Jacqueline in. But you know what? I'll make the argument that you know why Jacqueline, I feel like his performance is where it is because when he's not with the first team, he's playing with the B team. Right. Whereas if you're just subbing on the A team, on the first team, it's not, so there's a lot to be said for that, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it's keeping, I'm trying to think of the way it's keeping your form up.
Absolutely.
You're keeping your form.
Yeah. I mean, what was it? Like the 93rd minute it was like the 98th minute or something like that, or the 99th minute when he made that last play, Jacqueline, when he did the defensive play and then he kicked it over to Enrique.
Yep.
And that was this close to being a penalty. I don't know what anybody else saw, but because that was nuts.
Yeah, I mean the guy doesn't trip him, and get a red card. Enrique, being a quality striker, quality attacking player, probably scores that.
Yeah,
because he's shown his skill and his control of the dribble.
Absolutely. Serge Nash, true. Lin was a nice surprise for me. Absolutely, I think he was for all of us. William Aguilar, Ojeda has no speed, no dribbling, no positioning either. The least we can ask of him is to create stubbornness around the opponent's defense, but he doesn't even do that. Shake my head. And then Serge, Lin figured out what Kara couldn't. You must play D and offense. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so frustrated by Kara because I want to like him because I know the quality that he has, and he's shown like Ojeda.
And you've seen it. You've seen it on his glimpses. It's like shined. Like there were
the bicycle against Tigres.
Yeah, and last season too. And last season, I feel like he actually performed better last season than this season.
Absolutely, he was more consistent for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I feel like him and Facundo had more chemistry at that point.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, I would 100% agree with that.
Yeah,
I mean, watch Orlando City B. They have more than just Jack Lynn. I mean, Jack Lynn's I think he's in the lead for Golden Boot after Sunday night. By the way, he played the minutes he played Saturday night, then drove down to Kissimmee Sunday and played some quality minutes for Orlando City B to kind of see their match away, and ended up scoring a PK.
Yeah.
And getting a goal there that gave him, I believe it's the solo lead for the Golden Boot and MLS Next Pro. But there's more players than him down there playing in Kissimmee for Orlando City B. They, there's Juninho, who,
yes,
if it wasn't for international rules, would probably already be making first team appearances. Well, he made one. He made one first team appearance back in July. And then we, who else? Muhammad's down there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other. Fabian Loyola's down there. And actually, there's a lot of players from Puerto Rico on Orlando City B that play for the Puerto Rican national team, I guess you would call it. That they play in CONCACAF competitions for Puerto Rico, and there's at least 3 players that play for Orlando City B that make appearances for that squad. So there's a lot of talent down there. They're very exciting to watch. The match before their little break, they had about a 10-12 day break. The match before Sunday, they were down to 10 men. Down, was it 4-1 or 5-2, something like that, and came back and almost drew the match down a man. So they're very exciting, very attack oriented, very, it's worth the watch. They're on YouTube TV for those that don't know. You just search MLS Next Pro if they're not on YouTube. They're on Apple TV and
I think they're on the I think they're on the Apple TV pass too.
Some of them are, yeah. Some of the MLS Next Pro matches are, and it's a good watch. We have a couple more comments here.
Yep, Serge Nass, love Cara, bought his jersey too. I only wish well for him. We all do, man. I think we all just we were really hoping that he was going to be that guy for us. I don't think anybody expected things to pan out the way they did. William Aguilar, Cara, as we have mentioned before, is a great player that just doesn't fit Poppy's style of play. I can see him play for St. Louis or Cincinnati and totally killing it, as we've seen many times in the past with players that we've had not worked. And but that goes a lot to say, like we're saying, like with the chemistry and with the style of play, it's just finding that right. It's like finding that perfect combination, which is why it's tough when people, criticize the style of play or what the coach's decision. There's so many factors going into it, but as a coach, that's your job.
Yep.
That's kind of your job.
They get paid the money. The coaches get paid the money they get paid because they know it, 2 or 3 bad games and they may be looking for another job.
The chef gets paid the money because no matter what ingredients you give him, he can make you a good dish.
Yep.
That's the idea, right?
That's kind of a good chef. Exactly. Great show tonight, Ahmed.
Absolutely, man. It was fun.
Let's touch on the Cincinnati match real quick. Get our opinions from that, how we think it's going to go, and kind of what we think the result will be.
You know what? I want to win. That's all I want. I want to win, and I'm feeling confident. I hate to say it because I don't want to jinx it, but I'm feeling confident after the way we played that at the very least we can give them a very tough game, right? Yeah. Anything is possible at this point. It's just a matter of as Nate was saying, they have a very good home record, but guess what? I think we have the best away record in the East.
Yep, number 1 home team versus number 1 away team.
So that's gonna, it's another grudge match if you want to call it that, for the lack of a better term, because I'm really looking forward to it. I think it should be a really good match. I'm curious what the coaches are gonna do and how they're gonna prep for it, because like you said, like we have a bunch of other matches that we're prepping for. So I'm curious as to if Oscar's gonna change it up, if he's gonna maybe start the same and change it early, which would be unlike him. Would be very unlike him, but
definitely.
We'll see. I mean, I don't even want to make. I'm scared to make a prediction.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking for him to start our, the same squad. I'll say he started Saturday night. He our A squad, if you will. I thought Dagger Dan played great Saturday night. By the way, I'm just not a fan of him at right back. Just the experience isn't there for this level of soccer, but he did a very good job with his lack of experience at the right back position. But, with that being said, I see us resting some guys, kind of rotating a little bit Wednesday, see how the match goes, because Araujo, Cartagena, Torres, those guys have put a lot of miles. I know we just came off of a long break, but they put a lot of miles on in the, by the time Saturday comes and the 3 matches that we've had since league play came back. So I kind of see him potentially giving them a rest tomorrow night for, 60, 70 minutes.
Yeah. Let me ask you, after the Charlotte game, how far is it between? We only have a couple of days between Charlotte and Cincinnati. Then we have a little bit of a break, right?
Yeah. Then we have a week. Then we play the next Saturday, I believe it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I just hope you know what it is. I feel like we need to come out not the way we did this past Saturday. That first half can't be sloppy.
Yeah.
If that first half is sloppy, like we were kind of this past Saturday, I don't think the outcome is going to be what we want. We might be able to claw our way back, but I don't think that's what we want.
Yeah. And with Cincinnati, they showed a glimpse of it Wednesday night. You let your guard down twice, they're probably going to score with the quality attackers they have. So, I'm going in, I'm hoping for a draw. Would welcome the win. I don't want to see a Poppy special where we score a goal.
Absolutely.
And then, kind of sit back, kind of going into.
I don't think we can afford that at this point in the season.
Exactly.
I don't think we can afford any draws. It's like you just go till the end.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think Serge just reinforced that. He says, I see Poppy grow into a more attacking play, not 100% score and park the bus, not enough for Kara to stay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, it's going to be either way. It's, you got the best team in the MLS this year, which we haven't played since third match of the season. I know it was really early in the season, and
it was March.
Yeah, we drew them at home. So our quality's there. If everybody remembers the beginning of the season, we were kind of one match. 45 minutes we'd look great. 45 minutes we'd look terrible. 45 minutes we'd look great, and there was just no consistency with that with the squad earlier this season. So we're kind of, my perspective is they're going in with an open slate, and they're gonna hopefully go for the victory, which that's an automatic 3 points we pick up on them. We go straight from being 11 points back, potentially 14 if we don't get the draw, to only being 8. And now that's more realistically within our grasp to potentially take over second place. Got another comment here, if you don't mind, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yep, William Aguilar. The St. Louis game could have gone south really early on if they had Klaus starting. They missed so many clear chances. Absolutely, I can't agree with you more. Like I said, I think I counted probably at least 8 or 9 totally missed opportunities and like super sloppy turnovers in the beginning of that first half. So, and then since he will score 2, will we score 3? Yeah, we will.
Yeah, I mean this is a team. The way Poppy's got the boys playing, we proved they can score 3 against. We did it in a Leagues Cup.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what the score line I'm looking at is a 2-2, 3-2 game with us drawing or winning. Because I think we match up well the way we can handle possession of the ball. On our best day, we can, have 60% possession and still score. And it's never really been that way with Orlando City in the past. So, Ahmed, what's your socials? Where can people find you?
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you name it. It's either Ahmed Salim or Ahmed Salim 13 or 1376, one of those 3. That's about it. Pretty much all the hits all across the board.
One more comment here for you to read.
Serge Nash, thank you. Actually, thank you guys. Thank you to all of you who are watching with us. Thanks, Serge. Thanks, William. Thanks, Vixen, everybody else that's watching. I know the numbers have fluctuated throughout the broadcast, so thank you guys.
We appreciate everybody's input, even those that don't agree with us. It's Nate doesn't agree with us. He thinks Cincinnati's going to win no matter what. But as always, you can find us on social media, on X at On the Capo Stand, Instagram at On the Capo Stand, Facebook On the Capo Stand, Twitch at On the Capo Stand, and YouTube at David's Channel 76. 2 matches this week, loaded week for the boys. 2 big matches. We're nearing down to the end of the season. Let's stay behind the boys for those going up to Cincinnati and Charlotte. Safe travels to you guys. Luckily, I'll be one of those people on Saturday. Well, I'm going up Friday, but one of the people able to attend the match on Saturday in Cincinnati. So yeah, but always, we're always here 9:00 Monday nights live on the socials. I said earlier, they're always below on the ticker. Twitch, X, YouTube, Facebook. We're live on there every Monday night at 9 p.m. Our best wishes, thoughts, and prayers to David and Fabian Loyola on their medical situations. And as always, vamos, Orlando.
Hello.